This is What's on the Table, and my name is Luke.
And I'm Jimmy, and we're doing a very experimental version of video because I'm going to be mostly holding our camera stand here and occasionally setting it down. But we're going over how to properly build a character. So move your arm, please. So I realized in the last video we made about how building characters, we talked about it a lot, but we had nothing to really show you like what it is to build a character. We went over all the various things you need to know, but this will help give you a visual concept of what it is building a character. So here's a character sheet. This is a standard character sheet for 5th edition, and
Which is actually a really good edition to start with.
it is the best edition to start with. It is the most new player friendly, but it also has enough flexibility in the system to where you can make changes to it to make it a little more hardcore if you need to. This is a secondary page for the character sheet. While the first sheet shows you all your stats and what you can do, your abilities, your equipment, your weapons, all that stuff. It helps you with your combat related stuff for the most part.
The stuff you're good at.
This sheet will help you for everything else, all your non-combat stuff. Although the other sheet does involve non-combat related abilities and skills, this one gives you talks about your backstory, your additional features and traits, the treasure you have, and most importantly, I think, the allies and organizations, which I think is very underused in a lot of campaigns. A lot of people don't really truly use this as much as they should.
For a lot of people, it's
Filler.
It's a pain. It's a pain for some people to keep up with.
Yeah. And finally, this final page here is the spellcasting sheet. Now, depending upon whether you are just being you're just doing one class or you're multi-classing, you can have 2 different pages. So that's a thing. But we're just going to focus on here. I do not know if we're going to build a spellcasting class today, because we're just gonna show you right off the bat, just make a character on the fly and kind of show you guys the process. So today,
I'll probably just keep it simple and do just a barbarian, just make it a smashy boy.
okay. Well, first, before we get into anything like that, before you make a character, you have to know what world you're in, because a lot of times
That's a very big thing.
Because a lot of times in certain worlds, you don't know exactly what characters or what kind of races or classes are even allowed.
Yeah.
Because in certain worlds, artificer isn't allowed.
No.
Because it's just the world that is involved doesn't have that kind of technological thing. There are certain places warforges aren't allowed, and so on and so forth. So it just depends upon the world you're in general. So
from my experience of that, it kind of just depends on the DM.
it does depend on the DM.
Yeah.
So before you make a character, so that's why whenever you're making a character, it is vital that you make sure the DM goes over your sheet, and if you have to, and always ask, hey, what races are allowed, what classes are allowed, and what kind of equipment is in this world. You have to know this before you start making a character, or otherwise you have to make some great changes depending upon the DM in the world.
I've done that before, because one of my first DM games I was ever part of, I built a barbarian, and they were not allowed. He was doing just a sheer magic.
So
That was oof.
all right, so we will be using the player's handbook as the main source of our information to build the character. Although between me and Luke, most of the stuff we need to know we already know, but we're still going to show you and give you that visual. Now we'll be building a character off the world of Theros from the new module book. So it's definitely it's gonna be very fun to do this. Now, the first thing you need to know about Theros is that there is a limitation in what races you can be. Now, you can, in theory, be any race, mainly because of the whole thing of planeswalkers exist. And trying to build a planeswalker, that's a whole other animal.
That'll be part 63 of
yes,
session 8.
How to theoretically build a planeswalker for.
Guys, you watch our heads just slowly melt.
I can devise a system, but it'll take a lot of time.
Again.
So. But I can do it's doable.
Oh, yeah,
all right, so the races that are allowed, specifically in Theros, as seen here, are humans, centaurs, leonin, minotaurs, satyrs, and tritons. So those are the main races. So those are the races you'll have to be able to choose from, Luke. So out of those races, which 3 of them are brand new, at least for 5th edition playable races, which one do you think will fit with what you wanting to do with this character?
Just to keep it simple, I'll probably just do a human, just because
It's a go-to, it's standard,
Yeah.
and it's very easy to build.
it's very easy to build.
Okay.
And with this being just kind of a pure, or not pure, what's the word I'm looking for?
You're just doing a single
Yeah.
class. You're not multi-classing. All right. So since he picked human, we'll go to our player's handbook and go to humans. All right. So the thing about humans is humans, as it says right here, the variety in all things. Humans are very adaptable, the most adaptable of any of the races. And that goes for whether it's fantasy, science fiction, no matter what. Humans tend to be never the strongest, the smartest, or the fastest, but they're always the most adaptable. Which adaptability can be key to survival.
That's why when it comes to building characters, I always recommend first timers to play humans, just because it's a
Yeah.
easy.
Humans are easy, but keep in mind, if you want to be a giant, enormous minotaur lady who breaks coconuts with her biceps, be that person.
Oh, yeah.
Or if
Very
you want to
well.
be the ancient, frail, but unbelievably powerful arcane elf wizard, then be
Oh,
that.
do it.
Be what you want. But keep in mind, some races are a little more, have a lot more going on with them than others.
Yes.
So they can sometimes, like the Triton has a lot of different abilities and things that go with them, and sometimes it can be hard to keep up with all of them.
Yeah. Kind of the Minotaurs. It seems like they've got a bit to go on.
Same.
Yeah.
So we'll start with humans here, and as you can see, we have 2 different options. We either have if we pick human as our race, we can either have every single ability score increased by 1, or we have the variant human trait, which in every single game I've ever ran and games I've been a part of, no single person has ever picked this as the ability score increase. They always do variant human.
Oh yeah, because it gets
It's-
1 extra feat.
You only get 2 abilities to get a +1, but you also get extra proficiency in a skill and a feat. Feats are insanely powerful. You generally don't get a feat until 4th level in most cases. But if you're a human, you can choose to just start up with a feat, which feats can be game breaking. Some are insane, like
Oh,
Shield
yeah.
Master.
That's fun stuff. Right
Hello, I'm a person who is 6 foot tall, and I'm gonna push this gargantuan sandworm 5 feet away from me with my shield. Dink.
there.
No check needed.
No, it's just like, hey, move.
Yeah,
Which I've seen people do that with the Tars.
yeah. It's
It's dumb. Tars, you can't move me. What?
all right. So the thing I'm gonna go over now is the ability. Now, before we can do an ability score increase, we need ability scores. We need numbers here, people. We need numbers there, and there.
There. All this.
Oh no, but those are
All
later.
this.
Those are later. We'll keep it simple. But now, with that being said, it's time for dice.
All right, let's see.
Now, since we already know we're going to build a barbarian, we also know that we also kind of know what stats we're wanting to go for. So with this being said, here I always recommend getting a piece of paper to write on, write down
Your stats.
your stats down. That way you can. That's for another campaign. I have notes all over the place. All right, here, that's perfect. All right, so we're gonna write down each roll here. So before you roll, we have 3 systems to use when determining stats. We have one is the point buy system, which I'm going to show off right here. So the point buy system. Where are you? Yep, right here. This is the point buy system. So what this allows you to do is you pick so you get 27 points, and it shows you the cost of each different what your ability score is going to be, and it shows you the cost of how to build it. So the second way to do it is to pick out of these 3 numbers, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8, and you can then you pick where those go in your stat block. But if you really want to risk it for the biscuit,
All right, Jesus be with you.
and hopefully either get an 18 in a stat or possibly a 3, if your DM is that kind of person.
Well, if you piss me off.
You roll for them. So here's how we do it, which we're going to show off the rolling system. So you roll 4 dice. All right, and then you take the top 3 dice, the 3 highest dice, and you take those and add them together. You take the bottom one out of the equation. So at this point, we have a 6, 3, and a 5, which total is 14. So write that down. Now, some DMs do a thing where they say re-roll all ones or whatever, or you get so many re-rolls. My system is you get 2 re-rolls whenever you feel like you need it. Yeah. And so the way I do that is I say make sure on any bad roll, remember what you rolled individually, what individual rolls were. That way we can re-roll later.
Yeah. So when it comes to that, any bad rolls I wouldn't do is just put a 1 or a 2 or whatever your lowest one was.
Yeah. So go ahead, and 14 is definitely not a bad roll.
No, it is not.
All right, this is a 10 here,
Yeah.
which is the standard ability score of the average human, like so non-hero person. All right, next one. Oh, that was a 2 and that's pretty low.
Oof.
That's a 7.
I know where the intelligence is.
It's always intelligence for you.
Yay! I just gotta hit stuff hard.
All right, so definitely Mark put 2, 2, and 1 there.
2.
Put another 2 behind there. Yeah, just put 1 and 2 there. That way we know that those were the 2 lowest rolls.
Yep.
So if we want to re-roll, get a re-roll on that, that'll be great. That's a 14. That's a solid number. And here's the thing: don't be discouraged if you get only like nothing above a 15, because that's the part of the randomness.
And there's even if you get all
Go ahead.
10s and 7s or whatever it is, you can always increase your.
You can always increase your stats, but also you can always ask your DM, "Hey, I rolled my stats. This is what I rolled." And you can just go, "Can I do a point buy system or the choose system?" And the DM will generally say, "Yeah, go ahead. That was terrible." Because your DM doesn't want you to have terrible stats. That was a 13.
Yep.
All right, good. And this is the final roll, and that is another 7.
That is oof.
All right, so I know that with 1 and 2. So I know what re-rolls we're doing. So here's how we do it, or at least how I do it. I'm gonna have him roll 1 dice, and if
6.
and now at this point you re-roll all 1s,
Okay.
or in this case 1s and 2s, because I want you to get higher than that.
Yeah.
So you keep re-rolling until you get higher than a 1 or 2. Keep re-rolling. It's fine.
Hey, 3.
So now we replace that 2 with a 3, so it becomes an 8. Yeah, this is once again though. We're doing this for the sake of the video, and once again, I had a ranger in one of my campaigns whose intelligence was a 7 because he rolled, but he took it. He had an 18 in his stats.
That's good sportsmanship. Now we want to do that for all the others.
Now we do it one more time. I allow for 2. There's a 5. So now what happens is it's a 5, a 2, and a 3. So it's a 10. So another 7 becomes a 10.
Yep. Which is average. Which I will take.
All right. So in this case, in this specific example, we didn't get any insane stats. We got 2 14s, a 13, a 10, and an 8. 2 10s and an 8, which isn't really crazy. But I've seen some of these, my friends here, roll like, oh, I got 3 15s, an 18, a 12, and a 16. I'm like, well, this is gonna be fun. You playing pretty much Achilles.
Well, time to one-shot the boss.
It's time. Well, it's time for me to start throwing twice as many enemies as I planned. But no, don't feel discouraged if you roll stats that are subpar. And in this case, we could honestly just actually it'd be more efficient of us to just take the choose ability score and to choose the numbers in this case. Because all that would happen is that 14 would become a 15, this 10 would become a 12. That's actually something so in this case, since our rolls were not better than what we could choose, we'll go ahead and choose in this case. So
numbers?
Because we are because I am a loving and kind DM. So no, at this point don't write it down. You don't have to write those down because we're just going to put them on the sheet.
Oh, okay.
Right. So now 15. Well, we're a fighty boy, except we're not fighting. we're not a fighter. We're the
just
rage
hit
boy.
things hard.
All right, since we're raging hard, we are going to be a powerful barbarian. Strength is going to be our #1 stat we want to put into. So that will be our 15. Next is our con needs to be high, so that will definitely be 14.
Oh yeah. I would almost argue that the next highest one should be dexterity.
Yeah, it should be. I completely agree with that. Dex should be highest, third highest, so it'll be 13. I'll find it there. And then next up, we're going to be wisdom. We do need some level of wisdom because some barbarian abilities do require wisdom. You're not intelligent; you just know how to survive.
Yeah, which is a popular thing for barbarians. They're not smart, but they know how to survive and hit things hard.
So definitely, so that will be the 12.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, we can either decide to dump intelligence or dump charisma. Honestly, the only reason I say we don't dump charisma in this case is because we do want to be somewhat intimidating, but we don't have to be, though.
Or you can just intimidate them with your stupidity.
So in this case, I will say we'll dump intelligence, make it an 8, and put the 10 on the charisma.
See, this would be a barbarian I could play.
Yeah, and so using the standard point array, we made a character that's definitely viable.
Yeah.
You don't have to roll for stats to always make a character good.
We like to do it just for the RNG of it.
That's because all of us love gambling, and don't do that, kids. It's not good for you.
Just wait till you become an adult.
No, don't do it. It's not good for you. Okay, so all right. So now the next part. This is the one part that everyone always tries to do immediately, which is pick the character's name. Everyone's like, I gotta figure out what his name is. Do that last.
Oh no, do it now.
Unless you already have the name in mind, do it last. Because the thing is about picking your name, it's not the most necessary thing. It is necessary, but getting your stats down is far more important. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do.
Yes, I know. I spelled it wrong on purpose.
Billy Bob Thornton. Nice. So at this point, we are going to be doing a first level character. So this is going to be a barbarian. You can abbreviate, so BAR, and then first level. Now, there isn't any additional material for barbarians in Theros, so we don't have to go through that. Now, there is additional material for a barbarian in other books, but I think we'll just pick a barbarian straight from the main book, just for simplicity's sake.
You start getting to the other books, it starts getting kind of confusing.
It can be overwhelming at first. So.
Yes.
Unless you have a certain kind of style of barbarian you want to mind. Like if you want to be a pious, God-fearing zealot, then you definitely want to pick the zealot subclass eventually for barbarian. But the thing is, we don't have to even do that right now because we're just building a first level character. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about subclasses till later, and that makes it a lot easier in that case.
So, are we wanting to go straight 20 or
no? We're just building a first level. Okay. We're just showing the basics. Okay. So with that in mind, as we're going to start showing off the barbarian and what it looks like. So here is the overall main block of information you need for a barbarian. So grab the D12.
Yeah, working on it.
Technically you don't have to roll it yet because you just get a flat 12 off the bat.
But
all right.
Still nice to have.
Yeah. So up here we have the general information you need for your barbarian, the number of rages you get, your proficiency bonus, the features that you will definitely have at that level, and then in this case, specifically for the barbarian, we have the rage bonus or rage bonus damage. All right. So we'll move on here to class features. Okay. So for more simplicity's sake, right here under quick build, it says it tells us to put strength followed by constitution as our highest stats, and it says second we choose the outlander background. We're going to do that just for the sake of simplicity. You're a barbarian and chosen to run wild in the outlands. All right. Next up here we have our how we start off our character. So now we have our hit dice. Which our hit dice is 1d12 per barbarian level. This is our first level. Mm-hmm. Our hit dice, which will be right here. Go ahead. On the total, on the line that says total, you're going to write 1d12. and up above or health, you wrote 12. Remember, you start off at 12, but you get your Constitution bonus, which we didn't even write down, which we should have. But let's go ahead and do that now. So what we're going to do is our bonuses. So how you figure out what your the bonuses you get for each stat, you're going to have to consult the player's handbook, which I will get to. I'm going right back to that spot because I should have been there a moment ago, but I wasn't paying fully attention at the moment for some reason. All right, right here. Okay, so first off, if your stat is a 14 or a 15, it will be a +2. What the hard stat is for is to let you know what your modifier will be. This is the number you're going to be using more often than not, which is why some players put the modifier in the big box and the actual number of the ability as in the small box. But it's all about player preference though, because some players want the number that they're using all the time to be put and big, which for newer players I do recommend that.
So I'll actually go ahead and do that.
Okay. Because it's easier to remember what number you're using most. Am I using this 15? No, I'm using this +2. So, but for more experienced players, do as you please. It's whatever your preference is. And now, as you notice right here, we have some negative modifiers for stats that are low. If you rolled a 3 on a stat, you'd have a -4. And you wouldn't be able to put that in intelligence. Anything below you can't put anything below a 7 as your intelligence, because then at that point you are not a sentient being. So we'll get into that later. That's a fun topic, sentience. So now we'll go into 8. Every stat that's an 8 or a 9 will be a -1. So anytime he's doing anything intelligence related, he'll get a -1 to his roll when he rolls a dice.
So just for example.
So if he rolled the d20 there, he rolled a 2, which now goes to a soft 1. It's not a natural 1, which the natural 1 is the worst roll you can roll.
I think you're...
but a soft 1... No, the natural 1 is the worst roll you can roll.
Well, it's depending on the situation.
Okay. So for the standard way the game works, a nat 1 is the worst roll you can roll.
Yes.
A soft 1 is still really bad, though. It's almost as bad. So in that case of roll, if he was like, "All right, do I remember who this person is?" You've never met this person before in your life.
We just talked 5 minutes ago. Who are you?
Yes. So now we have anything that's a 10 or 11 gets a 0.
Which I did put that with D charisma.
And then finally +1 on anything that's a 12 or a 13. And if I bet you're wondering, look, what is all this? I can get above 20 in a stat? That's insane. You can, but only through certain magical items, and very powerful magical items at that, can your stats increase beyond 20. Normally 20 is the cap of any stat.
Mm-hmm. But again, that falls under DM.
The general rule is 20 is the max a stat can go naturally.
Yes, naturally, yes.
Now, saying it can go well beyond, even according to the normal game, the standard game, you can go well beyond 20 with magical items.
Yes.
There are several magical items that make you go well beyond 20 in strength.
What was it? Belt of the Fire Giant?
Any of the belts of the giants. Belt of Hill Giant is 21, Frost Giant is 23, Fire is 25, Cloud is 27, and Storm is 29. Sweet Jesus.
I've more often seen the Belt of the Fire Giant.
Fire is one of the more common ones DMs go for. Okay, so next up, we don't really need to know about our hit points at higher levels because we're only going into first level. Now we go into our proficiencies. So right here in this box, we have our other proficiencies and languages. So
you immediately start off with common with your languages.
So right now, no matter what, you will always be have common as a language. We also forgot to increase that hit points by 2 because of your Constitution modifier. And we also almost forgot to include your racial bonuses because we are doing this very kilter.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's fine. We're rolling all over the place. We're not structured at all. This will totally be a smash success video.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now, because we're doing the variant human, you choose 2 different ability scores there to increase. In this case, increasing intelligence won't get us out of that negative, but increasing the 12s, the 12 will increase us to, increasing the 13 will give us to a +2 in Dex, and increasing the strength will give us a +3 in strength. So we'll go.
Just dump everything in strength.
Well, it has to be 2 different ones. So in this case, because we want to try to make those 2 points count, or those individual points count, we're going to make our strength a 16, so we now have +3 to it, and we'll make our dex a 14, which gives us a +2. Therefore, giving us a better bang for our buck there. We get 1 proficiency in a skill of our choice, and now we'll go over that. So now we have the skill list. You see that big line of all those right there. Those are our skills, and they correspond with the individual stat that says right next to it, like there. Acrobatics is Dex, animal handling is Wisdom, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna go over that. So go ahead and pick one of your choice. Now keep in mind, as a barbarian, you'll have access to animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. So sometimes people just pick an additional one from there, but sometimes people pick one outside the norm they normally can't get. In this case, we should just go to our strengths, and I say we pick
athletics.
Probably athletics in this case, just because it is simple. We can always and we always pick that way. We take that one off as one we don't have to pick when we're choosing our barbarian. Now, the next thing to do is pick a feat, but we'll get to that in a little minute. We're going to finish the rest of the character and then pick the feat. It's just specifically because I don't want to go way too far back and forth, because the feats are in a whole different section of the book.
Back and forth. Let's do it.
Humans also do get common and 1 extra language of your choice. So in this case, due to the world we're in, you can either choose to pick one of the different languages of the races in the world we're going to be inhabiting. So with that being said, let's go look at the languages. All right, centaurs here speak Common and Sylvan. Sylvan might be helpful to know. Leonin also speak their own language called Leonin. Minotaurs speak Minotaur as well as Common. Satyrs speak Common and Sylvan. And Tritons speak Common and Primordial. So it seems Sylvan is pretty common in this world outside of Common.
Oh, no, Common's not that common. That's why we call it uncommon.
No, you're thinking of undercommon.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that's the thing that you know.
D&D jokes. So next,
I started to put down undercommon.
Luke, how much water have you had today? Yes.
Yes.
Definitely put Sylvan.
Yes. And undercommon. Got it.
All right. Your base walking speed as a human is 30 feet, so go ahead and do that. And while we're here, we can go ahead and just make our height and size. So on the next page, we have the ability to, hold on. Yeah, right here we have our age, height, weight, eyes, skin, and hair. So let's go ahead and do that.
So we'll just make the age mine.
So 40.
7, got it.
47. 7 years old. I got it's like, guys, I have gigantism. I'm actually 7 years old.
He's 7.
If you had told me that when I met you, I would have believed it.
Now I'm actually 8. Get it right. I have slight gigantism.
So let's definitely for height, let's probably go for 5'10", just simplistic. That's the average height of a human male. Weight, let's say he's 190 pounds. He's a little heavier because he's a barbarian, but he's still lean though.
That's a lot of muscle.
I'm saying that's
thick boy.
I'm saying he's still like not a whole lot of extra fat, but he's definitely heavier because he's muscly. Eyes, let's make it blue. Simplistic.
Green.
Give me a green. Go ahead.
Brown.
Green, brown, blue. Alright, so no, don't do that. Skin color, we'll put fair. And what are you doing for the hair?
Just
blonde. Okay. Hair, let's just say blonde, yeah. So you put brown and gray. A little bit of gray. You actually put 7 down.
Oh, yeah.
No, don't put 7.
Fine.
Put your own age. This whole band's gonna beat the crap out of you.
Oh, I'm like an old barbarian.
Let's do 27.
37.
Alright, we can 37. It's fine. See, he wrote 27. Alright, let's go back to the other page. Let's go back to our main page. Alright, now we got those kind of things out of the way because it says humans range variety from barely 5 feet to well over 6 feet. Humans, like I said, are very widely available in many different sizes and shapes, just like in real life.
You're going from 3 feet to 7 feet. Those are always fun.
Yeah, we know a few 7-foot giants.
Yeah, they're terrifying. They go
All
anywhere
right.
from thick boy to very...
Alright, so since we had our proficiencies in Common and Sylvan, let's continue on the proficiency train with light armor, medium armor, and shields.
So do we want to put that on...
And put it in
front?
yes, that's where that goes. In the same column as other proficiencies and traits.
So light armor?
Medium armor and shields. And next we're going to do is the weapons. Now, Now the book says write down simple weapons and martial weapons. Now, hold on, before you do that. Now, always ask your DM first, but for me personally, I just say write down all weapons. It does not actually include all weapons though, because there are exotic weapons. But for the most part, I personally just say write down all weapons. But in this case, we're going to go by a little more by the book, and so write down simple weapons and martial weapons. But keep in mind, sometimes your DM will just say, hey, just write this down because I don't have exotic weapons in my campaign. So just go ahead and write down all weapons because that's effectively what that would be. We have no tool proficiencies, so we're good at killing things and nothing else.
We take rock to hammer and hopefully make a nail.
All right. Our saving throws are in strength and constitution. So one thing I mentioned earlier, we have our proficiency bonus. That is a +2. Go ahead and write that down. All right, good. And on that note, so now we're gonna go ahead and circle in strength and constitution. All right. Now we have those circled in. Go ahead and write down. We're gonna figure out what our modifiers for these are. It's always your proficiency bonus with the corresponding stat. So in this case, our strength will be